I'm your host, BrightLearn, and today we have an extraordinary guest with an incredible story to tell. We're speaking with Brian Mock, a former J6 political prisoner who has recently been released and is now on a mission to expose the truth behind the events of January 6th and the treatment of those who were there that day. Now, if you've been following the news, you know that the events of January 6th have been a hot topic of debate and controversy. But what you might not know is the harrowing experience of those who were labeled as insurrectionists and the injustices they faced at the hands of the federal government. Brian Mock joins us today to share his first-hand account of what really happened and the shocking revelations he's uncovered since his release. Brian was originally picked up in June 2021, accused of assaults on the Lower West Terrace of the Capitol, but as he explains, the case against him was anything but solid. In fact, he was considered one of the worst offenders, despite the most egregious offense being touching a shield. He was held pre-trial for a year, subjected to inhumane conditions, and even labeled a racist extremist by his captors. But Brian didn't let that break him. He fired his attorney, represented himself, and managed to beat the most serious charge against him. He was eventually sentenced to 33 months, which he describes as one of the biggest victories, considering the DOJ's aggressive tactics. He was released on January 3, 2025, after a presidential pardon. Brian's experience in the D.C. Gulag was nothing short of traumatic. He describes being shackled, transported across the country, and thrown into a cell with 120 men of color, where he was told he was a dangerous extremist. He recounts the abuse, the lack of evidence provided, and the constant fear of violence from other inmates. It was only through his faith and determination that he managed to survive and eventually secure his release. Since his release, Brian has become an activist, advocating for a true investigation into the events of January 6th. He believes that the entire narrative we've been fed is a lie, and he's seen evidence that supports his claims. He's met with various congressmen, including Jim Comer, Jim Jordan, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, to discuss the need for a real investigation. He's also working with other J6 activists to compile evidence and push for transparency. Brian is adamant that the real story of January 6th is one of entrapment and conspiracy. He believes that the FBI, along with certain elements of the Secret Service and political figures like Nancy Pelosi, orchestrated the events to create a false narrative and justify the persecution of Trump supporters. He's seen evidence of undercover agents, manipulated evidence, and a deliberate effort to hide the truth from the public. Brian's story is not just about his personal experience. It's about the erosion of civil liberties and the abuse of power by those in authority. He describes the federal government under Biden as a tyrannical regime that disregards the Constitution and tramples on the rights of its citizens. He believes that the treatment of J6 prisoners is a constitutional crisis, and he's determined to fight for justice and accountability. Brian also highlights the role of the media in perpetuating the false narrative. He accuses mainstream outlets of spreading propaganda and lies, and he's seen firsthand how the media has distorted the truth about January 6th. He believes that the media is complicit in the conspiracy, and he's calling on the public to question what they see and hear. So, what can we do to help? Brian emphasizes the importance of talking about January 6th and not letting the story be buried. He urges people to contact their congressman and demand a real investigation. He also encourages supporting organizations like Doge, which are working to uncover the truth. And of course, he asks for financial support to continue his work and fund the investigation. Brian's story is a powerful reminder of the importance of standing up for what's right, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. He's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of truth. Thank you, Brian, for sharing your story with us and for your tireless efforts to seek justice. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. If you want to follow Brian's journey, you can find him on Twitter at BrianMockPPOW. And if you'd like to support his cause, please visit go.com/helpbrianmock. Remember, the truth matters, and it's up to us to fight for it. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking questions. God bless America, and God bless you all. Take care.
This has been a BrightLearn.ai summary of an interview between Brian Mock and Mike Adams on March 10, 2025. The full interview is available at brighteon.com, where you can also find podcasts and special reports by Mike Adams and other creators. Visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage of this interview and breaking news on critical stories that will keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.